With the budgets of so many public schools being cut, you'd think that administrators would be watching every single penny. But that has not been the case at a South Bay Community College district. The ABC 7 News I-team has been investigating. Dan Noyes tonight with the first of two reports.
Scotland, El Salvador, Vietnam, Thailand, New York City, West Palm Beach. Expensive trips for senior administrators, much of it paid with your tax dollars.
My name is Rosa Perez. I'm the Chancellor of San Jose Evergreen Community College District.
As Chancellor, Rosa Perez makes close to $300,000 a year, plus perks, including a lot of travel. And often she doesn't travel alone. Shortly after she arrived, Perez hired Dr. Bayina Jones as her executive assistant. They're frequently photographed together. Jones was soon promoted to a newly created job as Executive Director of Institutional Effectiveness. And recently she became a dean. Her salary grew too, a $30,000 raise since 2005 to $123,000. Perez and Jones bought this house together in San Francisco in 2007. Receipts obtained through a Public Records Act request show Perez and Jones took a 10-day trip to Scotland in July of 2007 and paid the bills with district credit cards. The official purpose, to observe how Scotland runs a program for elementary and high school students. Well, this year they traveled to El Salvador with other college administrators in a study abroad program. The Chancellor has family in El Salvador. Some of the travelers paid their own way, but thousands of dollars came from the San Jose Evergreen Community College Foundation. We've gone through a lot of documents, and often the money trail ends at the doors of the foundation. It's a nonprofit set up to raise money for student programs and scholarships. But the foundation's board refused to let us see their books, so it's hard to know just how much government and donor money from the foundation goes to scholarships and how much goes to travel. But we can get their tax forms. Here's a recent snapshot of one year, $353,000 for college administrators to use as they wish. Just $88,000 for student scholarships. Documents show Perez also goes on a lot of college visits and conferences, more than 70 of them in 4 years. We were able to piece together receipts for 18 trips taken by Perez and Jones together to New York, West Palm Beach, Chicago, Miami. The Chancellor often pays for Jones's ticket and meals with her district credit card. Over and over, ticket Perez, ticket Jones, and on many receipts there are notes like this: dinner for Bayina and me. Chancellor Perez refused our request for an interview. We tried to reach her through staff, visited her office, and tried her at home.
Yeah, we saw someone peek out the window. They aren't coming to the door.
Instead, the district provided Vice Chancellor for Administrative Services, Janine Hawk. I just want to be clear and ask whether this is all business or is it personal?
There is no evidence to support that there's anything other than business expenditures on any employee's district credit card.
Did Chancellor Perez disclose to the board that she was hiring her roommate for this position?
I'm not going to address that question.
On the Chancellor's watch, other district administrators took 4 trips to Vietnam, a trip to Thailand, and another to Cambodia for student recruitment and study. The district tells us they took in 141 new Vietnamese students as a result, but they didn't provide documentation that shows they recruited even one. Records show the cost of a single trip to Vietnam was $112,000. $54,000 came from various district funds. Board President Randy Okamura says the trips were an educational opportunity for staff, but also they were hoping to bring out-of-state tuition income to the district.
What was the Thailand component of that trip?
Thailand was the same thing. We wanted to see if we could expand into Thailand. And I don't think anything came out of that one as well.
But that raises a question. I mean, if you can't accept all the students who want to come here, why go off to Thailand trying to get foreign students to come here when you can't serve the people in California?
It was just as exploratory. Well, we can serve the people in California.
Okamura went on the Vietnam and Thailand trip too, along with board trustee Richard Hobbs and at least 14 other employees. Okamura defends the staff travel, including the 10-day trip to Scotland. He says it's all necessary to develop programs.
The Scotland trip was more of a model thing to serve our students here.
You're going there to learn a model to bring back here. I mean, you can't pick up the phone, you can't use email. I mean,
well, no, quite frankly. I think the practical thing, you need to see that.
You would expect that there'd be some kind of report that says this is the reason we're in it and this is the value we're getting back. And we didn't hear any of that. And it really is a shame, because every penny that they spend there, they're taking that away from either students or teachers.
Don Kawashima was the foreman for the Santa Clara Civil Grand Jury looking into school spending this year. It issued a report criticizing the San Jose Evergreen District for excessive travel and conference costs.
It's money that they think they deserve. So it comes to the point where it's almost funny money.
We found lots of other examples of questionable travel. Here's a ticket for a young man named Emery Perez Odess, bought with Chancellor Perez's card. The district will only say he's not an employee, but here is Perez in a district newsletter with her son Emery. There were also 12 more airline tickets bought with Perez's card with no receipt or reason for travel. Here's one for $1,400 on an international airline. Others for trips to Portland and Seattle. A 5-day layover in Boston. In each of these, the district did not provide any accounting showing whether the expenses were for business or for personal travel. Are you running a tight ship in terms of getting documentation for all purchases?
What I can say is that our procedures have improved dramatically.
That's no consolation for students and teachers. They've seen a 30% tuition hike this year, 38 classes cut this semester, and the January intersession canceled altogether.
At a school, the whole mission is behind the students. And if the students are suffering and administration is benefiting in extravagant ways, no, that's not fair.
Me and other instructors are just trying to get by, and much less the students that we're serving that are just trying to get the basic credentials to make a living.
5 days after we requested an interview for this report, Chancellor Rosa Perez announced her retirement in a letter to the district board.
I can never thank you enough for entrusting me with the responsibility to serve as your chancellor.
Staff members say she's leaving for health reasons. We've also learned the president of Evergreen Valley College, who works with Perez, has taken other trips paid for, at least in part, by the district, Scotland and China, along with El Salvador. You can read more about this in the Mercury News tomorrow. They're using our research as part of their own investigation, and we'll go deeper into the chancellor's expense accounts here tomorrow at 6. You can comment on the story by going to abc7news.com or by calling 1-888-40-ITEAM. Dan, Carolyn.
That is quite a paper trail.
It really is. It took a while to put that all together.
Oh, a lot of work. Thank you, Dan. Well, coming up next, we'll take a look at the Democratic health care.
This is ABC 7 News at 6:30.
We've received a lot of email about last night's I-Team investigation. We looked into travel spending at the San Jose Evergreen Community College District, but there's even more to the story, and Dan Noyes is here tonight with the second part of his investigation.
Well, Dan and Carolyn, there has been strong reaction to our story about the chancellor and her staff using taxpayer money to travel and sightsee all over the world during a profound budget crisis. After going through thousands of receipts, we found out that's not all they've spent your money on. It's a good life. Luxury hotels, fine art, expensive meals, and exclusive clubs. Never even having to pay for a cup of coffee if you don't want to. You can even take a friend along. It's all good and all free, with the public picking up the tab.
My name is Rosa Perez. I'm the Chancellor of San Jose Evergreen Community College District.
Chancellor Rosa Perez makes almost $300,000 a year, plus a monthly stipend for expenses. It took months, but we went through 4 years of district accounting records and found that in addition to her salary and $600 a month expense account, Chancellor Perez received more than $130,000 more for expenses like meals, mileage, and a whole lot more. Like a $5,000 membership for Perez and 3 of her executive staff to join the exclusive Silicon Valley Capital Club. Receipts show they enjoyed an $1,100 meal, and on another date she spent $200 on food and wine, all with her district credit card.
It's basically a corporate credit card. Yeah. Like, just spend as you go. Just, keep everything you want.
Perez buys tables at social events for herself, staff, and board members. We added up $16,500 worth of tables at balls, tributes, and red carpet galas. These events are often reimbursed as conference expenses. She also treated herself to symphony tickets. In 2008, Perez bought a $3,900 painting by an artist from her native El Salvador at this gallery in San Francisco. It's currently on display at the Evergreen campus.
If we were all doing fine, that'd be one thing, but We don't need to decorate the walls if, we can't feed the people.
Perez would not agree to an interview. The district provided Vice Chancellor Janine Hawk.
If you needed to cover a wall, wouldn't you get a student to paint a painting?
We actually do that. We do acquire student art as well as, fine art. So
I'm just saying,
by professional artists.
In this day and age, doesn't that seem a little bit extravagant?
I don't think so. I think we try and create a holistic experience here for our students. That includes providing them the opportunity to participate in global education in the arts.
Perez also bought things for her home, almost $2,000 for home furnishings at Bombay Company, including a $1,700 desk. She also bought 3 printers and spent $432 at Bose Electronics, no receipt. In fact, there are a lot of missing receipts, but there are receipts for $500 worth of computer tote bags. Internal documents show staff were questioning her spending. In an email, an accounting clerk questions 2 Sony laptops for the chancellor and her partner, Language Arts Dean Bayina Jones. Her boss answers Bayina was given approval, and there's not much we can do about the chancellor. The only authority over the chancellor is the elected board of trustees. Randy Okamura is the board's president.
We have emails by staff flagging expensive purchases and asking questions, yet the purchases still go through. I wonder why that is.
I don't know. I would have to defer to Janine.
Is this a new topic for you?
For me, it is.
You haven't really heard.
For me, that's new.
But his name is on many of the checks.
The Board of Trustees has no idea how that money is going out.
Don Kawashima was the foreman on the Santa Clara Civil Grand Jury investigating college executive pay. He says what we found is common.
They felt like the superintendents or the chancellors were the CEOs of companies, and that whatever the company was making, they could spend.
Perez also likes to stay at luxury hotels when she travels, such as the Mansfield in New York, the Benson in Portland, the Manchester Grand Hyatt in San Diego, the Arizona Grand Resort in Phoenix, and the Ahwahnee in Yosemite. But she also stays in nice hotels a little closer to home. Records show 2 stays at the high-end San Jose Fairmont, $262 to attend district graduation ceremonies, $337 for a room after a late board meeting. She also spent $1,500 for a room at the San Francisco Hilton, just 11 minutes from her house.
This is taxpayer money.
Exactly, which is not appropriate, I think, for that type of lavish living.
Perez even charges the district for cups of coffee at Starbucks, and on another occasion, a pack of Mentos candy.
It seems a little unseemly that she would charge for Mentos when she gets a $600 monthly stipend for expenses. I mean, is she working the system?
I believe that those expenditures are for supplies for the office.
Chancellor Perez took an early retirement 5 days after we requested an interview for this report. Janine Hawk is filling in for now. She says the district is bringing in an outside investigator to look into the questions we've raised. Students we interviewed say they could have put those education dollars to better use. Evergreen College charges about $1,500 for a 2-year general studies program. The chancellor's $130,000 expense account could have paid for more than 80 students. As we mentioned, we're getting a lot of email and comments on this investigation. And if you'd like to weigh in, contact us through the iTeam page at abc7news.com.
It's remarkable, and I know you'll have more.
We do. A lot of follow-ups to come.
Thank you, Dan, very much.